3 when I called you up, said I need you now, cause I'm losing patience. By 4 you were knocking on my door. I said love is a two-way road, he don't care no more, am I going crazy? Needed you just to help forget it all. And it was easy, you put the records on to replay, danced till we couldn't see straight, till the morning came along. Don't need the weekend, we don't wait until the evening, we don't need to find a reason to turn it up and sing along, cause that's what friends are for.
Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. Today is an exciting show. If you haven't heard of Shereese Slate, you will know her and her name and her brand by the time you finish this podcast. So with Shereese, she's an amazing interview that I've wanted to do now for a while, ever since she's been listening to the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. But I don't know if we have enough time to fill everything she does into one podcast. So we may have to end up having a few more. So with Shereese Slate, she's a CEO, author, speaker, celebrity hairstylist, cancer survivor, and well-respected hair, beauty, and makeup expert. Shereese has had a knack for creativity from the early days of childhood. Every fiber of her being is built on building the right image and getting the desired results. Slate's remarkable celebrity clientele, accolades, and recognition, and well-respected and talented hairstylist has earned her many prestigious honors that include the selection by the U.S. international fashion shows to be the premier fashion hairstylist for its coveted New York Culture Fashion Week. Shereese's sultry hairstyle creations have been showcased on top of shoulders of countless award-winning music artists, including Ashanti, Sierra, Monica, Patti LaBelle, Yolanda Adams, Fred Hammond, and Star Jones, to name a few. Slate's hair art has graced the music videos of Grammy-winning artists Christina Aguilera, Keith Sweat, and television shows such as The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, The Late Show with David Letterman, and you guessed it, Oprah Winfrey Show. Additionally, the stylist's immaculate hair and makeup artistry has been featured in film, television, magazine publications that include, but not limited to, Vibe, InStyle, Forums, People, Ebony, Cosmo Girl, Source, and Glamour UK, and 17. Slate's meticulous work has also earned her warranted recognition and array of natural record labels and hair product lines, including Sebastian, Motions, and TCB, Professional Hair Care, and Atlantic, Motown, and Def Jam Records. She is also charming executive with Jenesis Milan Agency, a marketing endorsement film, and She Wear Hair Care, a luxury line of hair extensions. She lives by the motto of her days as celebrity stylist and makeup artist in the music industry, which this one I love, no excuses, only results. So I'd love to welcome you, Shereese, to the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast here today. I'm so excited to be interviewing you. Like, really, I'm overjoyed. Like, I know we talked before, and we keep talking. I think we could just talk for like 8 hours straight.
Yes, we can.
So I want to dive in. So for our audience, like, just give us a little bit about your history, your background, how Shereese became Shereese.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me.
Mhm.
I'm honored to be a part of your podcast today. You're such an awesome guy.
Thank
So
you.
I'm sure your fans already know that. But I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I gave my very first haircut at that young age of 6 years old. I gave my brother that famous Dalmatian dog haircut. He had patches all over his head. I did get in trouble, but it didn't stop me from wanting to do hair.
No.
So grew up in Detroit. Went to cosmetology school. Went there after that. I went to one of the top salons in Detroit. It was actually a 24-hour salon.
Oh.
Yeah, they were.
Oh.
When we were doing hair, I wasn't, but they were
No.
doing hair at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It might be 40 or 50 people in the salon that late. It was crazy. Um, After that, I went to my first booth rental salon. Worked there for about a year before I opened up my one of 4 salons that I owned.
Oh, okay. So did you always want to be a hairstylist? Like you said, you did it from 6, but that was more playing around, or you knew
Yeah.
something inside you said, I have a passion or something burning that I need to, you know, do
I
hair or
didn't
be a
really know it at
hairstylist.
first, but I started doing all the kids in the neighborhood. I thought that's what everybody did.
Oh,
So
you
I
oh.
started, yeah, I thought everybody
Y'all
did
did
kid hair.
everybody else's hair?
But if I found out it started being me all the time, and so
Yes.
I started enjoying it.
Mhm,
And I said, you know what? I think I want to do this. I had this real passion for it. I was also the one when we went to the movie theaters
mhm.
and everyone would get up and leave. And I'm like, no, I want to wait and see the credits. I want to see whose name's rolling down the credits. One day my name is going to roll down those credits. So that was always
Exactly.
my dream and my motivation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes too, even saying that at a young age, you're already planting the seed in your mind that you're going to
Yes.
see your name, or I'm going to make 6 figures, or I'm going to be a celebrity stylist. And as you
Yes.
know, which we'll talk later, it doesn't really happen overnight. But I
No, it
think
doesn't.
through, placing that seed and through prayer and through guidance and things like that, it really brings you to that, because I think a lot of people really don't know the process. Even being a salon owner in itself is a huge undertaking. Never
Yes.
mind one salon, and I'm like you, have had more than one salon at the same time, and it
Hmm.
really does take an undertaking, training your staff properly and having the right, uh, direction to go and having a vision. I
Yes.
think hair is more than, waking up in the morning, standing behind the chair and going home.
Yes, it is. It's so much more than that. Like you said, being a salon owner, you're an entrepreneur too, so you have to learn how to be a boss. You have
Hmm.
to learn how to market, retail, brand. You
Hmm.
take on a lot of, you start to wear a lot of different hats, and not including when you start talking to your clients, all the hats you have to put on when they sit in your
Hmm.
chair. So we do a lot of things. We wear a lot of different
Hmm.
hats, and I think that sometimes people minimize hairstylists, which I have a real issue with that.
Hmm.
They minimize who we are and all
Yeah.
the abilities and qualities that we bring to the table, but we help people out more than just by doing their hair. We do a lot for them. Sometimes we're with their doctor, we're their
Hmm.
psychiatrist,
Hmm.
psychologist, so we do a lot of things. And sometimes we're their best friends that we get hear their deepest, darkest secrets, and
Hmm.
we're also the ones they come to find out if this looks pretty or if this looks
Yes.
right. And
Hmm.
also, I get spiritual guidance. People come to
Yes.
me, and I will wonder, why do people always come to me and they kind of bring their problems? So I
Hmm.
start calling myself Dear Shereese. They have a Dear Abby, Abby. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be
Exactly.
Dear Shereese.
But I think that's what it is in the hair profession. People will naturally, like a bartender, naturally spill their guts to you, or they'll
Right.
naturally start to talk to you. But
Hmm.
hairstylists, we have sometimes clients for many, many years. We see them when they're a kid, as they grow up. Now they go to high
Hmm.
school, their first date, their graduation, their marriage. Now they have their own kids. Now
Yes,
and we're doing the full circle with these people. And a lot of times we're the only staple person in their lives
that's
that
true.
they're with more than anyone else. And plus, with our profession too, we're the one few professions where people pay us to touch them. And the thing is, when you're tactile with someone, you have a much different connection than them coming in, buying a shampoo, here's the money, here's my product, and they're gone, sort of thing. But what I want to do is go back to a little bit what we read in your bio too. You're being a cancer survivor.
Hmm.
If you're okay with talking about your story,
Yeah.
maybe you can relate to somebody like how it happened, how you found out, what your process was, and now being a survivor, which I think is great that you're not a victim, you're actually a
Yes.
survivor and you're a victor, right?
That's true. Yes, I don't
Yeah.
mind talking about it at
Yeah.
all. Actually, I've been extremely blessed. I can't say I made all the right choices in my life. I was an unwed mother by the time I was 20 years old. And I remember after having my baby, about 6 weeks later, I got a call from the doctor. And he says, "We want you to come in. We think we found something." I'm like, "What did you find?" I couldn't imagine what they could. I'm only 20 years old.
Mhm.
And they said, "We think you're in the early stages of cervical cancer." And I was like, "Is he serious?" And so he says, "Yes, so we want to do a surgery on you because it's in its early stages. So we want to do surgery and see, if we can remove it.
Mhm.
And we'll see if you have to go through any chemo or anything like that." So I'm like, "Okay." So I go in, I have laser surgery because it's in a real early stage. And
Mhm.
then a few weeks later, I was hemorrhaging really, really bad. And to the point where I couldn't even walk. They had to carry me to the hospital, and I ended up having to get 3 pints of blood. And then I had to go through this whole process where the bleeding wouldn't stop. And so they had to rush me to emergency surgery. And, I came out, and actually I was really blessed. And he said, "You know what, it was further along than what we thought, but we got it." And so
Mhm.
I've really been cancer free the whole time. I didn't have to do radiation or anything.
Mhm.
I was just really blessed. And my mom, they were terrified. They were crying. I was like, "Why are you crying? I'm gonna beat this." I knew going in I was
Mhm.
gonna beat it. And so all of my checkups have gone really, really well. I've been really, really blessed. So
Mhm.
I'm very grateful. My both of my parents had other forms of cancer as well, so it's
Mhm.
kind of running my family.
Mhm.
But I've been very, very grateful. I try to think about other women who go through cancer because, of course, I meet lots of women who have breast cancer and different
Mhm.
things. And so I try to be there for them and help them out in any way I possibly can.
Yeah. So are you an advocate for like, as I say, well, even for men too with prostate and stuff like that,
Yes,
but
yes,
doing the self-exam or just
yes,
going for regular
absolutely.
exams, and to say you
Yes,
were lucky that I mean, even being further along, that they caught it that soon.
yes,
But
I was
even though
very
it
lucky.
sounds like, oh, it wasn't a big deal, but I
Hmm.
imagine emotionally it probably took its toll. You're going through every
Yes.
emotion. Here I
Hmm.
am, a young mother. I just had a
Yes.
child, and now all of a sudden I may not be around for this child.
Yes, absolutely. That did scare me,
Yeah.
I was so young. I don't think I understood to the
Mhm.
degree of how bad things could have been had I
Mhm.
not been detected.
Yes.
Thank God they were able to detect it very soon.
Mhm.
But if they hadn't have, this could have been something that could have been deadly for me. So I was
Exactly.
very blessed, fortunate, and I
Mhm.
do try to get my checkups on a regular basis.
Yes. So were you at this point, were you working in a salon or as a stylist at
No,
this time?
I wasn't. I was going to school then, so I
Mhm.
had to take a break from school
Okay.
during that time, and I eventually went back because I wanted to finish and get my license.
Mhm.
And so, I got back to into school, got my license, and then I went on to the salon. But
Yeah.
I always thought positive, though. I always believed I could beat it. My mom was more scared than I was, and maybe
Mhm.
because she was older and she knew more. She was more mature. Um,
Exactly, but I think too, as a parent, and now you as a parent, I think
mhm.
that's the same. When it's your child, your flesh and blood, to not
Yeah.
have them in your life,
Yeah.
it's devastating. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's even for some people that don't have kids, they may have dogs, cats, parrots, but
Mhm.
to them, it's like family for them. And if
Yes.
anything happened to them, the devastation, and it's just you would feel the loss, and I think you would mourn in the same
Absolutely.
in the same way, sort of thing. But for your story, it's such an incredible, I don't want to say rags to riches, but such a transformation from
Mhm.
almost not being here to being a six-figure stylist to being a
Yeah.
celebrity stylist
Mhm.
and also being a mom. you
Yeah,
know
and if I can be, just blatantly honest, I grew
Mhm,
up in the projects in Detroit, so it is
mhm,
kind of a rags to riches story.
mhm,
You know, based off of my life, I wasn't supposed to achieve the level of success that
Mhm.
I achieved. So I'm very grateful. But statistics says, I growing up in the projects, that
Mhm.
my lifestyle is probably going to be somewhere close by. I'll live somewhere in a neighborhood very similar to that.
Mhm.
And I'm very grateful, to not have to have lived that type of life anymore.
Mhm.
It was done during my younger years as a child, but I knew that that wasn't supposed to be my future.
Mhm.
Something I didn't know as a kid what was going on, the details. I didn't even know we were poor,
No.
but I knew it was something about that place. I wasn't supposed to be there for the rest of my life. And of
E
course, as I grew older and saw more things in life, I wanted something different than what I
Mhm.
saw around me.
Exactly, because you're often told, like you say, your environment predicts your outcome. So
Mhm.
people think if your environment is a certain way, then
Mhm.
that's basically where you're stuck from.
Mhm.
But obviously, you overcame that, so you know that's not true.
Oh,
You
it's
know what I mean?
totally not true. I always say, if your determination to succeed is strong enough,
Mhm.
then you can do anything that you want in life.
And you can yeah, you can, rise above and see. I've done a lot of study of millionaires, billionaires, things like that,
Mhm.
and a lot of them either came from nothing or they had everything and lost everything and
Mhm.
rebuilt it. So there has
Yes.
to be some kind of fire inside you to be able to do that. And also being an entrepreneur, but also a female entrepreneur,
Mhm.
I think must
That's
be, that's another struggle as well.
Yeah.
you
Because
know?
you're in a field where men are supposed to be the boss, and now you
Hmm.
decide that you want to be a boss. And I don't know why I had this entrepreneurial spirit in me, but
Hmm.
I've been working for myself since I was 25.
Hmm.
So, and then when I decided, I was like, oh, I want to go into corporate America. And not that I can, I just
Hmm.
don't want to. I did it
No.
and I was like, this is not for me. And my dad, he's been an entrepreneur all his life. And he says, I called him like 30 days later and he said, I was waiting on this phone call.
Yes.
Says, that is not who you are. You are an
No.
entrepreneur. I was
No.
like, yeah, I've accepted it.
Yeah, because when you're an entrepreneur, you live differently than everyone
Yes.
else. Your mentality is different. You live by risk, and that's what it
Yes.
is. And because, and we're never guaranteed in our professions. Salons close every day.
Yeah.
Clients go to somewhere else. They move
Yes.
away. Their financial status change. So you always have to adapt, where when you're in a regular 9 to 5 job, you're set at a certain paycheck. That's great. You're getting money, but you're locked in. You're capped at
Yes.
that money per week. When you're an entrepreneur, you can determine what type of income you want to have. If you want to make 200 a week, you will. If you want to make 2,000 a week, you will. If you want to make more than that, there's ways of doing it, which we're going to discuss with you, going as well. So yeah, maybe we'll jump right in. A lot of times, well, no, let's talk about being a salon owner.
Okay.
How was that process for you?
Well, when I first started, I
Yeah.
opened up my first salon with only $5,000. I
Hmm.
bought it was a small salon. It was a 7-chair salon, but I bought all used furniture. I didn't have a lot of money, but
Hmm.
I was ready to go to the next level. And I said, you know what? I think this was probably a smart idea to buy used furniture. And it
Hmm.
was. It wasn't a staple that had to be there forever,
Hmm.
but it was just a starting point for me. And I think it was one of the wisest choices that I made when I first started my business.
Hmm. Exactly. And I think that's an amazing way to go, because a lot of people, they'll mortgage, second mortgage. They put all
Yeah.
this money into a salon. It's really busy at first because it's brand new and everybody
Hmm.
wants to see it. But as soon as they all come and they've seen it
The
now,
curve.
people are naturally nosy.
Yeah.
And the income drops off, because instead of owners being smart and putting that away for a rainy day, they're like,
Hmm.
oh, this money's going to be coming in all the time. And
Yeah.
they spend, and now this $100,000 or $200,000 salon, sometimes more, now is just empty. Right.
Yes.
And that's and say for me, I did the same thing. I went
Hmm.
to the bank to get a loan, and they're like, well, you're young, because I opened my first one at 20, my second one at 22.
Hmm.
And they said, no, unless you have 5 years of back history, plus
Hmm.
if you can prove that you don't need the money, we'll give it to you. So it's like,
Like,
okay.
uh-oh,
So
what
the guy that refused me the loan, his wife ended up actually coming to my salon.
happened? She became a client. That's funny.
Became a client, and I made it very artistic. We had a big
Mhm.
staff. We had, let's say, like an indoor, like my reception was an indoor garden with a fountain.
Oh, wow. I bet it
We
was
had actually
beautiful.
I had 6 assistants on rollerblades. We had 12
Wow.
hairstylists, but the same, everything was bare bones. But because if you create that environment for
Mhm.
people, they're going to love it. And then you expand from there. And like you say with yours, your second, your third, your fourth. But did you learn a lot from having your first salon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I made some mistakes, of course, but I learned a lot from my mistakes. I learned about the stylist and the mentality of the stylist.
Hmm.
Um, how to spend money, how to save money, how to budget. I learned a
Hmm.
lot of those different things. Learned about the
Hmm.
clients, the type of clientele we have, the neighborhood.
Hmm.
All those things play a part in how successful your business is going to be and how long it's going to
Hmm.
last as well.
Yes.
So yeah, I learned quite a bit.
So, what advice would you give for an owner if they're hiring a stylist? What are some things they should look for?
In hiring a stylist, someone who has drive and someone who's willing to invest in themselves.
Hmm.
I cannot express or stress how important it is. If you
Hmm.
don't invest in yourself, you can't expect anyone else to either. You want people who are really hungry, people who would
Hmm.
do hair almost for free.
Hmm.
But this is something that they live, they kind of eat, they dream it. If you want to build a successful salon, you're going to have motivated people in your salon. Um, some things that I used to do is also motivate my staff. I would
Hmm.
always do things that would help to encourage them, bring in motivational books and videos and things like that to keep their spirits lifted up.
Hmm.
Because when you motivate them, it motivates everyone around them, including their client. And then the conversation in the salon is not about backbiting or
Hmm.
talking about people. It's about growing, and that's what's important to me is growing.
Exactly, exactly. Leaders are readers, and it's been
Yes.
often said, and that's what you really need to do. Same with
Mhm.
my salon. I would play, motivational tapes and great
Mhm.
speakers, and to learn, I gave them all um, grow, Think and Grow Rich. So
Yes, I
everybody
love
that
that
started
book.
with me, everybody got a Napoleon Hill book to start
Yes.
them off, because obviously if your staff is successful, you're going to be successful as
Yes.
an owner, right? And that sort of thing. So I think it's the same for hairstylists coming in. If you're a hairstylist looking for somewhere new, I think you should kind of look for the same things. You should look for a salon that's progressive, that
Mhm.
is alignment with what you do. If you want to be a competition stylist, look for salons that are award winning, that compete, that do shows. You
Yes.
want to be, in photography. But I think, like we said, you wear many hats now as a hairstylist, where before your skill was enough. Now your
Yes.
skill's not enough anymore.
No, it's
You
not.
have to be proficient at social media. You have to be a photographer.
Absolutely.
In addition to, like you said, a psychiatrist, a
Yes.
psychologist, an image consultant,
Mhm.
like a bartender, someone
Yes.
who listens to all their stuff.
All those things you really do.
There's so much more. And now if you don't have a physical presence, or even if you're not even a brand ambassador for a
Mhm.
company, or you don't have some kind of linkage, people, because there's much more competition now than there ever was before. And
True.
but a lot of it too, it's the experience that you give the client. So we're going to talk about some of the things that you do. So one thing you do is brand building. So you can tell
Yes.
me about what brand building is and what exactly a brand is.
Okay, so a brand, okay, so I have something called defining and designing your brand as a hairstylist. So I also have a branding and endorsement company.
Hmm.
And so I work with different celebrities about building their brand. So I said, you know what, I need to talk to hairstylists about this as well.
Hmm.
What I learned is most hairstylists don't know the term about branding.
Hmm.
We always talked about being popular. And popular is about branding yourself, making sure that you have a recognized image of yourself that connects with your specific group of client or target
Hmm.
market that you want to
Hmm.
be connected to. So branding is so important. I was sharing with some students actually today. I had to speak at a school, and we were talking about a tagline or a tag name, and I asked them what was their had they thought about a tag name for themselves, and ask them what do they think my tag name did for me. So my tag name is Celebrity Hairstylist, and I ask them, what do you think people think about when they Google and they see Celebrity Hairstylist?
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of went over some of the benefits of having a tag name that fits your specific niche.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Being a celebrity hairstylist, and I said it's three things that it will say without them ever meeting me. One is I do celebrities or prominent people.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I'm probably an expert or I have know what I'm doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And three, I don't do $20 hair.
No.
So you want a tag name that
Yeah.
actually speaks to people before you ever meet them.
Mm-hmm.
I met Star Jones actually through a tweet.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even on Twitter. I was at least not that day.
Mm-hmm.
But she posted on Twitter she was looking for a celebrity hairstylist in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and someone says, "I know one. Her name is Shereese Slate." And within 2 minutes, we were connected, and I was
Mm-hmm.
doing her hair for a tour that she was on. And so that's how powerful a tag name is. You
Mm-hmm.
want a name that's between maybe 2 and 5 words that will identify what you do as a hairstylist or a
Mm-hmm.
makeup artist or esthetician or whatever it is you do in the beauty industry,
Mm-hmm.
that defines your specialty and that people can connect with before they ever meet you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your brand is really starting to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I always talk to people about the importance of branding, making sure that you have a picture, make sure you use your tag name and your picture on all of your social media,
Mm-hmm.
your text messaging, your email, your voicemail, and also watermarking your pictures
Mm.
so that it continues to build your brand and it
Mm-hmm.
also protects your brand at the same time.
Yes. So with branding, does that also include like color scheme? So
Absolutely.
if somebody sees a certain color, they relate it to you?
Yes. So if you think about, let's say Coca-Cola,
Mm-hmm.
you recognize Coca-Cola or McDonald's, one, because of the arches, two,
Mm-hmm.
because of the color.
Yes.
And so it's important to also have a color scheme that people can connect with. So when they go to your social media, whatever, that particular color scheme will transcend and it goes back to you and your brand. So people
Mm-hmm.
are like, oh, you know what? He has black or she has rust. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you see that automatically, it's like, oh, that's Shereese or
You know
that's
it's
Brad.
them. Mm-hmm.
You know it's them. So
Yeah.
color schemes make a big difference. And it helps people to connect with your brand and your
Mm-hmm.
logo.
So this should carry through all social media, including your website or anything that you're on, should always be the
Anything that
same.
you're on,
Okay.
absolutely. You want to make sure you use the same exact picture. You
Mm-hmm.
want to use the same logo. Don't change up, some people
Yeah.
change things like they change their clothes. You don't want to
Yeah.
do that
Mm-hmm.
with your brand.
Mm-hmm.
All your social media, your email, text message, everything should have
Everything
that
should
same
look the
picture.
same. Mm-hmm.
Everything should look the same. And that way, when someone's on one platform, they can connect with you on
Mm-hmm.
all platforms and they're going to get pretty much the same brand. And that's going to be really important. You need consistency.
Yeah, I guess too, and probably cross, like, I mean, putting as much of your other social media links, I think, in each of the other ones too, or
Yes.
carry it over, or say
Hmm.
I'm on Instagram, go and see my Facebook Live. And then you're on
Yes.
Facebook Live, check out my YouTube. And then
Yes.
if,
Absolutely.
here, if you like this YouTube, then tweet on Twitter,
Yes.
and
You have
share
to
it out,
cross
like
market
things
and
like
cross
that.
promote.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the more, and that's part of creating your tribe. So what is branding not?
So what branding isn't is being inconsistent, having different types of pictures, different logos, changing things up. That's the epitome of not having a brand,
Mhm.
or that's being consistent with your brand. You want to make sure that you're consistently using the same pictures, the same logo over and over and over so people can start to connect with you. They have a hard time connecting with things that they're not sure about. And so when you're all over the place, when you're not being consistent with your look, no one
Mhm.
can connect with you, nor do they take your business serious.
Exactly. Would that be the same as changing your name all the time? Because you
Yeah.
think,
Can
like,
you
oh, that would
imagine?
sound like a better name, like McDonald's, then it's like McDugg's. Do you think it
Yes.
would be this?
It's funny because IHOP is thinking about changing from IHOP to iHob. And
Yes.
okay,
Hmm.
we'll see how that works out for them. But they've
Yeah.
had the same brand for years. Sometimes it's challenging to
Hmm.
upgrade to something
Yes.
new. Sometimes people don't like the change. So
No.
we'll see how that works out for them because their brand has been so strong with IHOP. I
Hmm.
personally don't see the need to change to make it IHOP. I think they want to make it about breakfast instead of pancakes,
Oh,
but
I
they're
see.
known for pancakes.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly. And I think that's why people go there. That's what they
yes,
know. That's already ingrained, right?
yes.
Already in their mind. So they know it. And to change it, I think then
I
it's
think
going
it's
to
a
be
mistake, personally.
no. And I think a lot of products do that too, where they say, "Oh, new and improved."
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes you can destroy your brand by trying to be everything to everyone.
Hmm.
IHOP is about people going there to get pancakes. That's
Hmm.
what people go there for. You think about it. And so you already have a core group of people who are going to come for that purpose.
Hmm.
And personally, I think you need to stick with that. But if they're doing the statistics and looking at things, and it's telling them that the trend is going someplace else, maybe through their
Hmm.
marketing and through their going over different things, they've come to find out that maybe things are starting to change, and maybe people
Hmm.
aren't buying pancakes as much. So it depends on their research and what
Hmm.
they've come up with during the course of their research.
Exactly. I think that's what too, over time, the demographic changes, or if
Hmm.
you have, some that were younger, then they're baby boomers, then
Yes.
now they're older, they may not have the same needs. If you're a
Yes.
roller skating rink, somebody 80 may not want to roller skate like somebody who's 12.
That's right. I don't think
So you
so.
got, or you have to rebrand in a different way. You know what I
Yes,
mean? 80 is the new 12.
that's true. I think hairstylists are starting to have to rebrand in a different way. And
Mhm.
actually, brand has become more important now than it ever has been before.
Mhm.
You know, years ago, we would just go to a salon and we would create styles, and you did well just from being in the salon. That's not good enough
No.
anymore.
But I
You have
think
to
that's
personally
why,
build your brand.
exactly. And I think that's why product companies approach certain hairstylists,
Hmm.
because it helps with their brand, and their face will help their brand. So anytime you get a wow factor, you always move up that level, right?
Yes,
So
you do.
basically, you know what I mean? Where a lot of as hairstylists now are becoming brand ambassadors,
Hmm.
where before we were never a brand ambassador. You could
Right.
maybe be an educator for a company, but not say a brand ambassador. So with a brand ambassador, if you have a large audience, you can say, "Hey, I really love this product," and
Hmm.
boom, even 5% or more will go out and automatically purchase it just because this hairstylist, said
Absolutely.
so.
That's very
And do you
true.
think with branding too, that also helps in creating your tribe as well?
Absolutely, it does.
Hmm.
Your tribe will connect to you. If you think about celebrities, they connect to them because of their brand, not just because if they're a great singer, but
Hmm.
what their brand says and speaks to them. Like, let's say a Beyonce.
Hmm.
People connect to her, of course, because she's a beautiful woman, and she can sing, but it is
Hmm.
also because of her beauty. It's not just her singing.
Hmm.
It's her habits, the things she does, the places she goes. They connect her to her for so many more reasons than just what she originally came out for. So branding it expands to quite a few different things.
And I think it's also too, I mean, they say your income is based on your five closest friends, but I think also
Absolutely.
with celebrities as well, or anybody that hangs out with anybody, I think that determines like who Kim Kardashian hangs out with, who
Yes.
Beyonce hangs out with or
Hmm.
is married to. I think that's going to affect her image, positive or sometimes negative, you know what
True.
I mean? But for some, any kind of press is good press as long as you're getting talked about.
Yeah.
But that also affects your brand too, and your brand is how, I think, how you respond to things
Hmm.
too. you know
Think about Justin Bieber. I
hmm.
mean, he's changed quite a bit in recent years or over the past
Hmm.
year. His brand has, the way people view his brand has changed. His brand is
Hmm.
still the same, but the way you view his brand, you view it in a more positive way. You think he's a little more stable because he's, evolved and he's starting to build a relationship with God. So,
Hmm.
you don't see him out drinking and partying, and so he's drawing a different following too. He's starting to draw more Christian
Hmm.
fans. And so your brand, the way you handle your brand plays a big part in how what type of tribe you're going to have
Mhm.
and who you attract to your tribe.
Yeah, and I think every brand is going to grow and it's going to evolve as you grow and you evolve and you change, but
Hmm.
you still want to keep some consistency and some fluidity through that. But as I say, your tribe may change over time, your followers may change over time, things like that, or just a different demographic. But
Hmm.
we're going to jump into something of what you're doing now, which is your Pay It Forward tour. So
My
I want
pay
to,
it forward
yeah,
tour.
I want to know a little bit more about it. What are you paying forward? How did it come about? What gave you the inspiration to say it's time to pay it forward and give back?
Okay, so the pay it forward tour actually came about earlier this year, and I've done a lot of great things in my life, and I'm very blessed, and I realize how fortunate that I am. And I just thought, you know what? I need to start sharing some of the things that I didn't get when I was in cosmetology school with some other people who could really appreciate and learn from some of the things that I know, some of the experiences that I've had, good and bad, some of the mistakes that I've made. And so I was actually in my private time with God, and we were having our conversation as we do.
Mhm.
And he said, you know what, I think it's time for you to start speaking publicly. And I was like, okay, you've been telling me this for about 3 or 4 years.
Mhm.
And so he says, okay. And I was like, and
Yeah.
who do you want me to talk to?
Yeah.
And he said, I want you to talk to your core audience, the people who that you have been around, that you're most comfortable with. I
Mhm.
said, so hairstylists, huh?
Yeah.
So he says, yeah, go to schools and start to share with them. And so I went to one school, and the light bulbs just start going off, and not only for them but for me as well. And
Mhm.
then he said, I want you to continue to pay it forward. I want you to travel not just around the United States, but around the world. And I want you to share the things that you've learned in hopes that someone else can learn from the things that you've learned. And it will help them to become either a celebrity hairstylist, build a star studded clientele,
Mhm.
or whatever they desire. But there are three things I want you to do in the process of this. And I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? I
Mhm.
want you to encourage them. I want you to empower them, and I want you to educate them. And so
Wow.
that's what I do. I go around, and I tell people this little thing that I do. I got from a friend of mine. I have to give him
Mhm.
credit.
Yeah.
So I like to go around giving out sugar. And so
Mm.
what that means is I may be in a grocery store, and
Mhm.
I might be on the phone talking to
Yeah.
a friend, and I'll see a
Yeah.
lady walk by, and I'll say, you know what, hold on, I gotta go
Yeah.
give out some sugar. And what I'll do is walk up to her, and I'll say,
Mhm.
you look absolutely amazing. And
Mm.
I don't say it if I don't mean it. I don't like to
No.
lie to people. But I believe that people need to be encouraged. That might be the one compliment that she
Yeah.
hadn't had in years, and she
Mhm.
might have needed that to hold on to get through the day. And sometimes she might hold on to it for 2 or 3 years down the road. But I know people feel good, and I like to make people feel good. So I like to pass out sugar. So I call it
Mhm.
giving sugar. I go out and
Yeah,
give sugar every
and that's exactly it. And you don't know what people have gone through that
day.
day.
Hmm.
You don't know what they're at. And sometimes those kind words can help them. Maybe they're thinking of today is my last day here on earth.
Yes.
You never know. And there is a movement going through now, hashtag positive influencer. So they're getting hairstylists of influence to now make a pledge and a commitment to only show positive, things on their social media, to only comment positive things on their
Hmm.
social media, which is a great movement. So with this, you're going to the schools. So are you doing schools, um, are you doing like the whole USA, or just do you have certain areas you're starting in?
I'm doing the whole USA. I started
Mhm.
here in the Dallas, Texas area,
Mhm.
and I've done Oklahoma, I've done North Carolina. Sunday I leave to go to Tennessee, and then I go to Michigan. And I'm hoping maybe when I'm in Michigan and Detroit, maybe I can slide over to Canada.
Maybe, because we're pretty close.
We're pretty close. That
Just
would
a
be awesome.
few hours drive.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it sounds exciting. Like for me right now, I'm doing something similar with Cara Green Canada. So I'm doing a Canadian tour right now. And
Hmm.
also with the Empowerment Podcast, it's great because then we're empowering these young minds to be much better. And like you say, we're as individuals, we're sharing our experience with these people, these new stylists that we never had in our
Right.
schools, right? And because hair is so much more now than learning just what's in the book, it's
Hmm.
so much more out there. But you're also doing something as well with the tour. It's your beauty business brunch. So if you can tell us a little bit about that, and that's coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
beauty. It's called the Beauty Business Brunch, and I call it breaking bread and doing business. So on
Yeah.
July 2nd,
Yeah.
I've invited a number of different hairstylists out
Mhm.
so that I can show them how to get to six figures in 1 year. So we're
Wow.
going to break that all the way down. I'm
Mhm.
really, really excited about it. I
Mhm.
love giving out gifts, so I always give out extra things when I do things like that.
Yes.
But we're going to break things all the way down. It
Mhm.
doesn't start with the client, it starts with your mindset. And
Exactly.
so, if you want to make six figures, you have to have a six-figure mindset before you'll ever make six figures.
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah.
we're going to break that all the way down, a number of different ways on how you can achieve it, the different things that you need to do to be ready to achieve it.
Mhm.
And so, it's going to be a 5 hour brunch. That
Wow.
I'm going to, it's going to be, as I call it, an epic dump of information that I'm going to share with them
Yeah.
that will help them to get to six figures in a year and to continue to do it each year.
Exactly. I love intensity. I'm always the one that's there and I take notes for and I don't stop. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You're always writing because for
Hmm.
me personally, I think that's how you remember it. If you write it down, you remember it much better because most people learning, they lose up to 60% of what they learn by the next day,
Absolutely.
right?
Write the
So
vision and make it plain. And then it
and
kind
have
of
it
gets
go.
embedded in you when you write it down
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, because I know July, I think I'm going to be in Virginia, but I'm not sure if that's anywhere near close to you.
No, we a
No,
little
not
bit
really.
away.
It's like I'm going to Florida. Florida is so huge, like from one
Yeah.
end to the other, it's like hours, right?
Texas, it takes 24 hours just to get through the whole state.
Wow,
That's how big
wow,
Texas is.
wow. Yeah,
Yep.
I may be doing. Yeah, I'm planning some an empowerment cruise, which we're going to do a hairstylist empowerment cruise, and one of the places I'm looking at, one of the cruises I'm looking at, actually leaves from Texas.
In Galveston?
Yes.
That would be awesome.
You're like, great for me. I'm right
That
there.
Yeah, I'm right here. I can make it's like about a 5 hour drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to.
So, which I think it's nice because then you can have some days at sea for education, and we
Yes.
share with people. It's great to network. It's great to do that. Your days at land, you can go and spend time with your new friends or the
Hmm.
family that you brought. It's really a great experience for everybody. I've done this before, and as I say, it's something nice that we want to do again and have it as an annual thing or do a couple of different versions. And we're going to get a few speakers that have been on the Empowerment Podcast actually to come and speak and be part of the experience as well, so they
That
can
would be
share and
awesome.
empower others. And sometimes it's great being on a Facebook Live or just the podcast itself, but to see somebody actually live in person, to get to meet them, to be one-on-one with them is a totally different experience.
Yeah, you get so much more when you're in person. That's why I tell
Hmm.
people I can share some things because I have courses online, but in
Hmm.
person, I'm going to give you so much more.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. When you see somebody live and speaking, the energy that you feel in the room and from the speaker, and same for the speaker, you get the energy from the audience. It's so like just sometimes I would say overwhelming, but sometimes really empowering. You feel
Yeah,
the buzz, you feel the energy, you feel
yeah,
the
it's like
spirit.
magnetic.
Exactly, going
Yeah,
through the tingles that you don't
yeah,
quite get the same online. But you're also an author too, and you've wrote. So one of the books is Becoming a Celebrity Stylist that you wrote.
yes. I
So
wrote that because I had a hard time finding information. No one wants to share with you, and that's what I learned. That was another reason why I wanted to
yeah.
go and pay it forward because I didn't have
Hmm.
anyone ever come to my school and say, "Here, we have a guest speaker,
Hmm.
and here's all this great information." We didn't have one person come in. And I said, you know what? No one's sharing this information.
Hmm.
And the sad part, no one's still sharing this information.
No.
I go speak to the schools and I ask them questions. And I'm like, do you know what a tear sheet is? They have
Hmm.
no idea. Do you know
Hmm.
what testing is? They have no idea what that
No.
is.
No.
And so I said, you know what? I need to be here to share this information because they don't have a
Hmm.
clue. Not only
No.
do the students not have a clue, But most hairstylists, when I do seminars, they don't know what it
No.
is either.
They don't. And then they're lost when it comes to that. They think, well, they must be lucky. They just fell into it. It happened overnight for them. You know, they didn't have to do all the hard work. And you know, some people, even to be an overnight success, it took 20 years to
Yes.
be a success overnight.
Yes.
You
Prince
know,
said it took him 9 years to be an overnight sensation.
exactly. And that's what it is. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. But those are things. School will teach you enough to pass your exam. And
Yes.
whatever is in your book, that's what they show you. But they don't really show you how to be an amazing business owner. They don't show you how to succeed at being a hairstylist. They don't show you how to hire staff. They don't show you how to open a salon. They don't show you, like, I
No.
mean, they show you how
It's
to
a
cut,
list.
curl, color, you know, relax hair, do all that kind of stuff. But all those other stuff, they don't show you how to be a media, you know, mogul. They don't
Yes.
show you how to be you know, a public personality. They don't show you how to use a ring light. They don't show you how to, like, all this kind of stuff.
Yes,
You know, how to
absolutely.
do beautiful pictures for Instagram. How to, you know, what I mean, how to even do your own copywriting. How to. There's so much more out there, and that's what I
Yes.
want to do with the empowerment cruise. So we really empower people in all these areas of all
Yes.
these things that they. You know, you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
That's true. Absolutely.
You know, and that's a way to go. But something, you know, and becoming a celebrity stylist. So what's one, I think, tip for you that you would give for people that are watching now that want to become a celebrity stylist? Both you and I are both celebrity stylists, but what's one tip that you would give to somebody who wants to be a celebrity stylist?
The first thing I would tell them is that you have to invest in yourself. That's going to be the most important thing that you can do. You're going to have to take classes. You're going to have to focus on building your brand. Learn what is your brand about. If you want to be a celebrity hairstylist, have you started studying the industry? Do you know the industry language? There's a language that's different from the salon. The hairstyles are different. Do you know how to do editorial hair? Study and find you a mentor. That would probably be one of the best things I can tell you. I got a mentor and she was absolutely amazing. She taught me so much and she opened up the doors to work on my very first movie. And so that will probably be one of the first things I would share with someone is to find someone who's doing exactly what you want to do and ask them if they would mentor you.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's amazing advice because it is. And working with a celebrity clientele is different than working with a regular clientele.
Absolutely.
People with money have a different mindset. And you'll
Yes, they
find
do.
that if you learn from Shereese and you learn to make six figures, you're going to learn that people that make six figures and more have a different mindset. They don't talk about they don't talk about the weather. They don't
No.
talk about like none of
No,
that
they
stuff.
talk about business. They talk
Exactly.
about
So
making
with
more money
yeah, and
in
with
their
us,
family.
exactly. And what we talk about is, oh, you have a new book? Okay, let's promote it on my show. You have this, let's do this. And that's how they talk. It's not, hey, do you think it's going to rain tomorrow?
Yes.
My back is hurting. I
Yeah.
didn't get any sleep last
Yeah.
night. No one cares.
No
You
one
know?
cares.
Because even in
No.
your bio, it's like, you know, it's about getting results. Like you make it
Yes.
happen, doesn't matter. And you have to be
No
laser-
excuses. Only I learned that on set
Yeah.
too. I remember I
Mhm.
went to I forgot. I think I was on set with oh my gosh, what's her name? Oh my good, I can't think of
Mhm.
Maya. Is it Maya?
Yes.
Yeah,
Maya,
Maya.
yep. Mhm.
And one girl came to the set 5 minutes late, and she lost her job that moment.
Exactly. Mhm.
And the production company looked at her and said, you know, she said, you know, had some excuses. They said no excuses, only
Mhm.
results. That
Exactly.
stuck with me.
Well,
And,
and exactly, and they're paying big budgets, and for
yes.
somebody to come late, and most sellers, that's okay. I come for you know, work 20 minutes late all the time.
Oh
No,
no.
when you're much more is expected of you, your skill level has to be much higher. You have to be more professional. You have
Yes.
to be. There's a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand, and you have to be better than good. And you have to be right
Absolutely.
the first time. You can't like let me try it again, take 20, you know, because we don't like that hair or that makeup.
No,
It's like, no, you
I say
got to
you have
be
to be on
on.
your A game. You have to be on
Hmm.
your A game, even on your bad day. You still have to be on your A game. I remember I
Exactly.
was going to London to do Sierra,
Hmm.
and the record label called me and they said, "Hey, Shereese, can you come to London to do Sierra?" And I was at a mall that was like 40
Hmm.
minutes from my house.
Yes.
and they said, you have 2 hours to get to the airport.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding
Yep,
me?
exactly. And that's how it works. You get your stuff, you get on there, you go. And if they
You
need
go.
you, you're there. And that's how it is. Because people say, oh, the life is so exciting. You're jet setting. It's red eyes. It's,
Yes. I mean, I
it's
had to
not
work
like you
24
see.
hours. I
Yep.
was up 24 hours. When I
Uh-huh.
got there, she had to get ready for a show called Top of the Pops.
Hmm.
She's supposed to be there at 7 in the morning. Well, my flight was like 9 hours. It's an
Yeah.
8-hour time difference. So
Yep.
I didn't get to sleep. I had to go straight in and
Yep.
do her
And
hair,
you
and
got
then we left.
and you got to be ready, and you got to be lively, and you got to be up,
Yes.
and you're going to deal with people that are wonderful, and you're going to deal with people with attitudes, and you're going
Yes.
to deal with people that are not so pleasant to work with, and that's just the
Absolutely.
way it is, and you got to
Yeah.
suck it up.
You have to suck it. And
Like
you know what
that.
I learned?
Yeah,
It's not personal. It's just
it
business.
isn't. Nope. You
You know,
go,
you
you do
can't
your
take it
thing.
personal. It's
No.
just business.
Yeah, and that's in life too. Don't let a
Hmm.
client, if they're having a bad day and you happen to be there, some people will naturally just lash out at you, and that's, you know what I mean, you just have to let it go. Just
Yeah.
let it go. But something more on the romantic side, you wrote another book. So it's 101 recipes for romantic ideas. So tell us more about that.
Yes. See, I'm a hopeless romantic. I love love. I'm in love
Yeah.
with love. I
Uh-huh.
love to see people happy. I love to
Hmm.
see people doing romantic things. So
Hmm.
I wrote this book a while ago when I
Hmm.
was in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I started writing down all these things that I wanted to happen to me. And
Hmm.
before I knew it, I had about 20 or 30. And I said, you know what?
Mm.
Maybe I'll continue and just write a book. And that's
Uh-huh.
how I got started doing that. And so this book is filled with romantic ideas that you can do with your mate.
Oh, perfect. So can you give us a couple, like a little taster?
One of them I did like a treasure hunt.
Oh, yes.
And so I had where you would leave little notes and you open
Mm.
one note and it would have a little gift and
Oh,
then it will
yeah.
tell you to go over to this other spot and
Yeah.
then there will be another note and it would
Hmm.
tell you to do something
Yeah.
different. It will be another gift
Hmm.
and it will have you going all over the
Yeah.
house and
Because
doing all these different things.
Yeah, because I think that's the main thing in life. I think that's the one most important lesson if you ever learn. Relationships are going to be the key to everything in your life, with your family, with your friends, with
Hmm.
yourself, with your creator, with your clientele. That's one thing. As long as you have relationships, you'll never be poor. You know,
Absolutely. You know,
in any area, in spirit, in money, in, all that kind of great stuff. And that's, I mean, and a lot of these things are very simple, but it's hard to create relationships. You can't expect that somebody's just going to be your buddy or your friend from one meeting.
very
you know
true. I
and
had a friend to tell me, and it really kind of changed my way of thinking. She
Mhm.
said, text messaging and emails is for information, phone calls and meetings is for
Mhm.
communication. If you ever want to build a good relationship, you're going to have to communicate. And I was like, wow, that's so powerful. So I
Ex-
try not to build relationships through text messaging. If
mhm.
it's important, I'll call someone up or I'll meet with them.
Exactly, and that's so much nicer. And say what we're
Yes.
the other skill I would say with relationships, like say, it's about listening too. And
Yes.
the motto goes, I mean, two ears, one mouth. So listen more than you speak.
Hmm.
So because if you listen to clients, they're going to love you and think you're amazing because they get to talk about their favorite thing themselves.
True. That's
Because
true.
that's what
Very
they're there
true.
for. They want to unload their stuff. They don't want to know that you were out drinking last night, you're really
No.
hungover. They don't want to know what your problems are. They're paying for your time. So they really want you to celebrate them and that your service is geared towards them. With me, I book one client, I only do that client. I don't
Me
take two
too.
and three clients at the same time, but I have a higher ticket. So in
Yes.
so I'm doing less people, but I make more than trying to do
Absolutely.
this and then having assistants to do everything else. Because once you create that one-on-one relationship, then you're creating your value, right? And that's the thing, because I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people, what should I charge? What should I mean, there's many factors to that, and we're
Hmm.
not really going to get into that in this podcast. But it really is. It's about creating relationships. It's about caring for people. How can you lift them up? So maybe that's one exercise we should challenge you to do, is when you're behind the chair, for every client you get for a week, you know, try to find one positive thing that you can say to uplift them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I learned
Mhm,
that people want to be appreciated and their time is just as valuable as yours. And so
mhm.
if you charge what you feel you're worth, you don't have to do 20 heads a day or 10 heads a day. And I don't believe
No.
in double booking clients either.
Mm-mm.
Um, really, to be honest, it's not respecting your client's time or them at all.
Yeah.
And if you're going to work with business people or celebrities, they're not going to tolerate that type of behavior.
Mm-mm.
So charge what you feel you're worth. Like you said, it's a higher ticket. You don't have to work as hard. And it works out better for everyone. And when you're working with successful people or what I
Mhm.
call business people, um,
Yes.
their time is more valuable to them than their money. So they'll spend
Mhm.
a little more money to have more of their time.
Exactly. And that's what people really enjoy because I
Hmm.
know with myself, and I say I've had the big salon, but I also do. It's nice when, even for a lot of people that do like private suites, I think that's
Hmm.
nice because then you can really create that one on one and cater that experience right from the
Yes.
time they come in till the time they leave, as opposed to you're just a number next. Oh, my next one's here. Or like
Yeah.
you don't even give them a name.
That's
When
very
is my
true.
9:30 here? Oh, where's my
Yeah.
5 o'clock? Rather
Absolutely.
than, oh, Susan, so glad to see you again. How is your new puppy? And make mental notes or even notes on them and say, okay, this is what's going on in their lives, and say, how's your border collie? Like, so get more specific and they'll say, wow, this person really cares about me. They really appreciate me because they know these things and they'll
Hmm.
invest in you because you're investing in them.
Absolutely. I always say all of my clients are stars, whether they're on the stage or they're in the boardroom
Hmm.
or they're, at a restaurant. I try to treat all of my clients like they're celebrities because they are stars to me.
Exactly. And the biggest thing, I think, to sum it up, like you said, is mindset. And if you
Hmm.
put your mindset there, and regardless of where you're at, if you're at a corporate salon, doing lower haircuts because you're just out of school, but your mindset can change all that,
Hmm.
just think of where you want to be, put it down there, and say, I want to be this, and create a goal. I want to make this much per week. I want to be this. I want to, but not the wanting, I am or I will,
Right.
right? So the I am is more empowering than,
Hmm.
I'll try. you know, Doing
Absolutely.
is not trying, right?
That's
Trying is
true.
setting yourself up to fail.
That's right. Just do it. Just do it. I was listening to John Maxwell,
Mhm,
and he was talking about say it over and over, like 50 times a day.
mhm.
Um, what is it? Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just
Exactly.
do it.
I love his speaking.
Yeah.
I love him, and there's other great sort of mentors out there. And
Hmm.
say we all learn from each other. I learn from you. You learn from me. We all
Absolutely.
learn, and that's why I wanted to really bring this empowerment podcast and people that are really doing great things like yourself with your Pay It Forward tour and things like that. Or if people wanted to get involved or people wanted you to speak for them, how would people follow you, get in touch with you? So what are some of your social media links, or what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Okay, so I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Also on Snapchat. I got to get better
Mhm.
at snapping. Uh, but
Yeah.
I have a website. It's ShereeseSlate.com.
Mhm.
And then on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Shereese Slate. And on Facebook, I have a page, but I also have a fan page. It's Celebrity Hairstylist Shereese Slate.
Mhm.
And I'll spell my name because I have a lot of E's in it. So it's she and Reese together. So it's Shereese. And last name is Slate, Slate. That's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Mhm.
Snapchat. And then my website is .com.
Okay, so how would they find out about what courses you have, upcoming events, things like that as well? So where can that be found?
They can go to my website. If there's a link that talks about courses there, so you can go to
Mhm.
ShereeseSlate.com. There will be a link there that they can go and click on to connect with some of my courses, or they can
Mhm.
go to courses.shereeseslate.com, and then it'll list the different courses that I have.
Oh,
And
perfect.
my event is there too for the their beauty business brunch where if they want to
Mhm.
come break bread with me,
Yep.
come break bread with
If
me.
I can swing it, I'll be there.
That would be
But we should
awesome.
definitely do something if you can do Detroit, even if we meet at the border.
Absolutely,
Like
absolutely. I would love
something
to.
like that, and do, you know, I mean, it's all, and say it's always nice to connect. And Premiere
Yes,
Orlando just happened, and I know a lot of people are there, and for a lot of people it's like old home week. So we want to
yeah,
create the same experience, you know, either on a cruise, or we'll do a land destination for people that really aren't like good with boats.
I would
But
love to be a part
yeah.
of that. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so we'll get together. So if you guys enjoy this podcast, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And if you also want to see Sherry, which what we're doing, Shereese, we're planning now, is that we're going to do a Facebook Live. So get your questions ready. I'm going to, like, once we go off the air, I'm going to confirm with Shereese she's a busy, busy lady. So to get our timing coordinated, what works, we'll do a post coming up in the near future, and then you can connect with her live on Facebook Live, and then you can ask her questions. She'll dialogue with you directly, and anything you want to know about anything we talked about today, or just being a hairstylist in general, or how you can pay it forward, anything like that. I'm going to wrap up now because we've been chatting. I know it's gone so fast. It only feels like
I
10 or 15
know.
minutes.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been like almost
Covered a
2 hours.
lot, but we
Been
got
all these
lots
two
more to
hours. I'm gonna have to
cover.
edit this thing down.
Oh, wow.
So, but I want to say thank you, Shereese, for coming on the Empowerment Podcast today and enlightening hairstylists, paying it forward, sharing your story. And I'd love to have you on again, and definitely for some events. And I know we'll do stuff together.
That would be
I don't want to
awesome.
in the future, but we'll do just stuff together now.
Yeah,
that will lead into the
I'm all
future.
for it.
So if you have some final empowering words for our audience, what would they be?
I would say to create a mission statement for your life, make sure that you leave a legacy behind. My mission statement is you should be ashamed to die unless you have left your mark on the world. So you guys think about what mark you want to leave on the world and create a statement that will connect with people and start walking in it.
Wow, that's awesome, awesome, awesome. So this is B-Rad, Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host for the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. We'll see you again next time.